we'll be discussing on the concept of marriage and divorce in India. So it is a lengthy concept which can be discussed today in this webinar. So I'll be issued with the maximum of 2 hours lecturing. I don't know whether I can complete each and every concept of this, but I'll try my level best to complete the concept which I want to cover and which I want to discuss with you all. So firstly, these are the topics which I'll be covering in my session today. I'll be putting a light on the introduction of marriage, then the concept of marriage in India, historical background of concept of marriage, definition of marriage, then the concept of marriage in Hindu, Muslim, Christians, and the concept of divorce in all these 3 religious under the accepted laws, then Special Marriage Act, then the difference between Special Marriage Act and other marriage acts, and with the conclusion. So when we go for the introduction, so as we all know, with the one saying, with the quote, a successful marriage requires falling in love many times, always with the same person. So marriage, as we all know, it is a very important social institution. Marriage are settled in heaven but celebrated on earth. Unite to 2 unknown souls are written right from the birth. So it is said that the marriage are settled in heaven, it is fixed in heaven, but in practice, marriages are solemnized on earth between men and women. So every individual has to play a number of roles in his life or her life. Various roles, one has to play 2 roles, very great, successful in life. One in economic role, other one in the family role or material role. So human beings are designed to live in the family. So this marriage creates legal bond between relationship which binds with the parties for life. To a healthy and happy family, we need to have a successful marriage. With this introduction, brief introduction, I'll be moving into the concept of marriage. So marriage is a union between man and woman. We all know that. The coming together of 2 opposite sex or 2 opposite persons, man and woman, we can create our whole or balance. Today the word marriage is understood as the social institution under which men and women establish their decision to live as a husband and wife by legal commitments and religious ceremonies. So this is the concept of marriage in India. With this concept, we'll slightly move to the historical background of marriage. In ancient period of time also, we could see in the period of ancient Hindu period, in Muslim period, in British period, and independence era. With this 4 eras of decades or 4 eras of the concept of historical evolution of marriage, we could see in the ancient Hindu period where the kings used to marry or used to have that polygamy system, where the kings used to have 3 or 4 queens. Whoever the king go and conquered or win in the war, he would marry that queen of that kingdom. So such kind of a systems we could see in the olden period where marriage was not taken it so seriously how we can see in the present scenario as a social institution. But in the religious matter, sacraments bond between the king and queen, their civilization or their kingship to worship in their way. Somewhere the legal commitments was given, respectful manner in the house were given to the woman. Even in the Vedic literatures, generally monogamy was considered the best practice of higher ritual. Monogamy means single wife or single husband, where they were practiced in the Vedic literature also, where they were stated that they need to have a religious mindset and in the expectation of practices they want to perform in the rituals of their husbands. And somewhere we could see sati systems, or somewhere we could have seen the child marriages. Somewhere we could have seen not proper status used to given for this concept of marriage in ancient periods. Even we can see of put a light on the phenomenon of Mahabharata and also Ramayana. Those things also we can see that the concept of marriage was very much important in their lives also. Rama marries Sita, we call it as the system of monogamy, which was presented in his era. Somewhere we could have seen in Mahabharata, there in the Pandavas, brothers were married to a Draupadi under some circumstances of a bit with the wish of their mother Kunti and all. So somewhere we could have seen in the olden period of time also the marriages, even the monogamy, monogamy, polyandry, such kind of things were there in that systems also. It is clearly laid down. Even the mantras, marriage of commissions, mentioned of second marriage of widow, not spoken on the rule of marriage there. There is to have sati system or something. So this is one light we can put on the ancient Hindu period. Next, when it comes for Muslim period also, we could have seen during Muslim vendors rule over India, there were a spread of religious convention between both the parties where forcible marriage used to happen. Somewhere conquerorship of Muslim rulers towards the brutalness towards the kings used to happen. Then desperate parents began their young daughters away from told child marriage used to happen more a period of time. So this was something which we can see in the Muslim period also. Next, we are going into the British period, where during the British period, movements for social reforms, married setup, where well introduced workers like Ram Mohan Rai, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Dayanand Saraswati. So these were the missionaries which they took a legal shape in the concept of codifyingness of Hindu marriage losses. Legislation of Hindu marriage laws began in the year 1829, where Rajram Mohan Roy introduced this concept where he wanted this Hindu marriage laws very strictly, and also they wanted to bring this Hindu Widows Remarriage Act was passed in 1860. Then penal provisions were introduced, especially for the dissolution of the marriage. So somewhere Special Marriage Act, each and act where legalization of legislation was passed in British periods, where they gave somewhere the lights of Kanun, or somewhere lights of losses has to be implemented in the marriage systems. With that framework, after independence, the Constitution of India, in the framework after 1950, the personal losses of marriages, particularly Hindus, have been codified in citizen irrespective of caste, sex, creed, or something. Even with the losses relating to Muslim, even the losses relating to Christian, even the Special Marriage Act, everything came into picture. With this historical background, next we go for the definition of marriage. So dictionary defines marriage as Marriage means the legal union of a man and woman as a husband and wife. As I told you earlier, marriages are made in heaven. It's a saying, and it's been true also in some senses. The partners between a husband and wife are having their own legal perspectives in the form of marriage. And according to the legal dictionary defines marriages as marriage means the state of being united to a person of opposite sex as husband or a wife in a legal contractual relationship recognized and sanctioned by dissoluble only by laws. If they want to put an end of the relationship means it has to take into consideration by the law itself. So with this definition of marriage,
Kaushik, sorry
hello?
to interrupt. Kaushik, sorry to interrupt. I'll be presenting the screen.
Hello?
Sorry to interrupt. I'll be presenting the screen.
Okay. You can move for the 7th slide. Okay. Whether I'm clear and audible? Hello? Fine. Thank you. Okay. So with this definition, we'll be moving on concept of marriage in Hindu. So this is a very important point of our talk today, or the presentation today. So in India, I'm picking concept of marriage in Hindu. In India, marriage is considered as an important ritual. It is believed that the marriage performed in the presence of God, Brahma gives an meet the every individual plays a number of roles in or her life. Hello, am I clear now? Hello.
Kaushik, you're audible.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, yes, you're audible now.
No, I'm getting a text message over there. Can't hear, but I'm fine. Okay. So in various roles, everyone plays two roles having a very great significance in the lives actually. So one in the economical role, or other in the or a family role. Somewhere the prominent life partner or a person life one denotes a quite good part of one carrying his performance. So considerably, when it comes for Hindus, we could not Hindus, we can have a general look on livelihood of other caste. But here in the Hindus, where we can see from the age group of 24 years, so or at the age up to 58 to 62 years, they'll be having this economical career. It's spread over about the 4 decades, and every day they eight to 10 hours of job or the work. Thus, one can assure the period with one's economical role consumption in the one's life. How much economical role is very important for the one's career? The maternal role or the family role, which involves around 40 to 50 years of one's life, where roles of maternal role is very important than of the economical role, because it involves second relation or formally involves the personal and also the primary relation to understand more clearly. Particularly more involves the unemotional activities also might involve there. Primary relation in marriage is based on the sexual and of human and the first. Hello. Hello.
Kaushik, your voice is lagging. It is like it is being stuck.
Now whether it is clear?
Yeah, now it is clear.
Okay. So Hindu marriage refers to Kanyadana, which means, fine, I'll switch off my camera so that it will be fine to hear, I guess. In the Google Meet it happens. Can I do so? Whether now I'm audible? Clear?
Yes, you are audible. Yes.
Okay. Clear, right? Everything is fine, right?
Yes.
Fine. Thank you. Fine. So we just I'll brief on of what this slide was speaking. So in the relationship of man's human lifetime, we can see the maternal role or the family role also involves around 40 to 50 years of one's life, where each in the maternal role or the economical role, we can see the two important things happens in his primary relations, where primary relations of are essential are unlimited, particular emotional involves there, and other groups like friendship comes, neighborhood comes, village, etc., family, parents, everything it comes. But in a sense to the primary relationship in a marriage is based on sexual relation, and sexual relationship brings between a man and woman to procure their children and their family further. With all this brief introduction, I'll move on to the Hindu marriage refers. According to Hindu marriage refers to Kanyadana, which means gifting a girl to a boy by the father with all the tradition and rituals or customs. So Hindu marriage in an ancient tradition which can have a Vedic traits to a modern world with a different modification that have occurred until now. There are 16 sacraments in the Shrutis, Hinduism, which marriage is one of the important sacraments of Hinduism. Can we move for a next slide? Organizer, can we move for the next slide? Kritika? Okay, so next slide, which speaks about Section 2 of Hindu Marriage Act 1955. So what do it speaks? Section 2 of Hindu Marriage Act 1955 states that this act applies to any person who is a Hindu by birth or has changed his or her religion to either of his forms, such as any caste. It might be Vaishnava, Lingayat, followed a Brahman, Shuddha, Arya Samaj, anything. Even a person who is Buddhist, Jain, Sikh also comes under this act. It also applies to any person living outside the territory except who is a Muslim and Christian or Parsis or Jews, by religion, provided that such person being bound by the Hindu law. It is believed that the strongest bond between a husband and a wife is unbreakable bond that remains even after the death. Belief of Hinduism: without a wife, a person is considered incomplete while performing any rituals of Hinduism. It is very important to perform all the rituals with the wife. With that definition, next slide. Next slide. Who are called as Hindus? One, Hindu by religion, Hindu by birth. So Hindu by religion, the medieval period of Hinduism lasted from 500 to 1500 AD. Hinduism is the oldest religion which contains a wide range of traditions and cultures which are followed by all the Hindus across the globe. Any person who is a Hindu by religion or born in a Hindu family with a Hindu father or mother need to follow their religion, except he should not follow the religion of other castes. Then Hindu by birth. Any person who is born in a Hindu family or has a Hindu parents considered to Hindu by birth. Even a Hindu born in any community apart from Muslim or some other Christianity or anything, any children, legitimate or illegitimate, even either his parents is a Hindu, he is brought up by the parents who is Hindu, shall be considered as Hindu by birth. Next slide. The concept of marriage under Hindu law. So from the long period of time, Hindu marriage rituals have been changed accordingly due to their needs and convenience of the people from the time to time. It's a relationship between the husband and the wife. According to Hinduism, we have seen that around 16 sacraments, marriage is one of the most sacraments of Hinduism. It is said that sacred tie that cannot be broken. It is a relationship from the birth to birth. It's a bond which continues after rebirth and death. So according to Veda, a man is incomplete until he gets married and meets his partner perfectly. So there are three characteristics of nature of marriage. It is an enduring bond of husband and wife which permanent and tied even after the death. They will remain together after their death. Once it is tied, cannot be untied. The Mangal Shrut which has been tied by a husband cannot be untied. So it is a religious and holy union of bride and bridegroom which is necessary to be performed by religious ceremonies and rituals. Hindu marriage is considered one of the most important sacraments in ancient times. There were no need for the girl's consent in the olden periods. Father had to decide the boy without asking for her advice or consent. It is the sole duty of the father to find a suitable boy to a girl. If a person of unsound mind or minor at the time of marriage, it was not considered in the olden periods, but right now presently it is considered as a void marriages according to the act. But in the present world, the consent and mental soundness of the person are very much essential part of Hindu marriage. Without the absence of any such element, marriage will not be legally entitled. Next slide. Forms of marriage under the Hindu law. Go for next slide, madam. Next slide, next slide. Next, section 5. Yeah. Conditions for validity of a Hindu marriage, section 5. So what all conditions has to be there according to the Hindu marriage? So section 5A speaks about valid marriages. So valid marriage shall be solemnized between two Hindus. The girl and the boy has to be born according to the Hindu religion if the following conditions are fulfilled. First condition, any person does not have any spouse living at the time of marriage. According to the Hindu Marriage Act, it is not permissible to have two living wives at the same point in the time, which amounts to biogamy, which is prohibited under the Hindu Marriage Act. It is punishable under section 494 of Indian Penal Code. Then the age limit of the husband and the wife, or the groom or groom guy. The groom shall attain the age of 21 years. The boy has to have the age of 21 years and the bride girl has to attain the age of 18 years. It is necessary at the time of marriage, the person shall attain the specified age given in this act. The boy has to be 21 years, the girl has to be 18 years. This is a second fulfillment condition of section 5. Next, the consent. Somewhere this consent, still it is in the era we can see it as the consent should not be on coercion or threat to a girl or even for the boy also to get married. In a modern world, a father cannot get the girl married to any without the girl's consent. Consent becomes very important. Such marriage will be void if the consent is not there. And next, they should not fall under Sapinda relationship with the degree of prohibited relationship unless it is allowed by their customs of traditions. When we tell Sapinda relationship, what is this Sapinda relationship? Any relationship between the Hello?
Yeah, Kaushik.
I'm clear, right?
Yeah, clear.
Okay. So what is this Sapinda relationship? So Sapinda relationship as given by the Hindu Marriage Act 1959, it differs from the complement under the ancient Hindu law in the olden Hindu as per Mitakshara and Dayabhaga. Bride should not fall within a 7 degrees from father's side and 5 degrees from the mother's side. When it comes for father side and mother side means the girl's relationship with the boy should not have that Sapinda relationship. It should not call it as a brother and sister relationship. Somewhere the correct definition of Sapinda according to this thing is olden age, where the definition which is given, that interpretation which has to be given, that this degrees from the father side and the 7 degrees from the father side and 7 degrees from the mother side should not fall in with. Next, the person shall not suffering from any insanity or mental disorder at the time of marriage. If such kind of things are kept quiet or such kind of things are not told during their marriage period, means that will amount for dissolution of their marriage, or it is called as void marriage also. Next slide. Next we go for essential elements of section 5. With this conditions, a marriage in Hindu can happen. Next we go for elements of section 5. What all things has to be there in that elements means, one is condition of monogamy, biogamy, then condition relating to mental health or capacity, then condition for marriageable age, Sapinda relationship. So condition of monogamy, as I told earlier, of Hindu Marriage Act 1955 states that at the time of marriage, the person shall not have a living spouse, means he is not permissible when under that second point of marriage. And biogamy amounts, he should not have having two wives at the same time, which is illegal according to the Hindu law and punishable according to the he cannot marry to someone. The first will be considered as legal marriage, second of this biogamy will not be considered as legal marriage. The provision of section 495 and 95, 494 and 95 of Indian Penal Code will be applicable to the second marriage. And third, mental health and capacity has to be good, clear. He has to be sound mind. He has to be give a valid consent at the marriageable time. And conditions for that marriageable age, the boy need to be 21 years, girl need to be 18 years. Then Sapinda relationship, where the chain of 7 degree to 5 degree, we can take it as the brother and sister relation if such kind of a things has comes in the Sapinda relationship. With this, next slide. With this solemnize of the marriage, we'll move for registration. Registration under Hindu marriage. Section 8 states that the state government is felicitating the provision as the proof of Hindu so that the person comes into valid marriage with the prescribed manner. All prescribed manner according to section 5, if everything is there, they can go for a registration of marriage. All the rules made in this section shall be laid before the state legislature as soon as may. Then third point which speaks, Hindu marriage register shall has all the powers reasonable time upon for the inspection and collect evidence and certify them after the payment of prescribed fee. So registration is very important when it comes for Hindu Marriage Act. After their marriage is done, they has to go for according to section 8 of that registration of marriage. Next slide. With this concept of marriage, we have discussed about the Hindu marriage. Next we'll go for Islamic marriage. So marriage under Islamic is a matrimonial relation and the institution which recognizes the sexual activity between a man and female for object of procreation of the kids, promotion of love, mutual support, and creation of families which are considered as essential unit of the society. Just like Hinduism, even the Islam is also a strong advocate of marriage. However, the Islamic or Muslim conception of marriage differs from the Hindu conception, according to which marriage is not a mere civil contract by or a sacrament which is stated in the Hinduism marriage. So according to many philosophers, marriage in Islamic is a religious duty. Everyone must marry in order to fulfill one desires of procreation of kids legally. So in Muslim law has been derived from the various codification and uncodification sources like Quran, customs, qiyas, precedents, equality, various legislations. With this general introduction of Islamic or marriages, the general essentials what all has to be there in nikah or Muslim marriage. First is parties must have capacity to marry. Then proposal and an acceptance has to be there. Third, free consent of both the parties. Then a consideration has to be there in the marriage. No legal and sufficient witnesses has to be there. Next slide. Next we go for effects of valid marriage under Islamic marriage. The cohabitation between the husband and the wife becomes lawful. The children born out of the valid marriage are legitimate and they have right to inherit their parents' properties. Mutual rights of inheritance. Do anyone has any question over there?
No, Kaushik, please continue.
Okay, we can have the session in the last, right?
Yeah,
okay.
We can have session in the last.
Fine. Okay. So mutual rights of inheritance between husband and wife are established. That is, say, after the death of husband, the wife is entitled to inherit the husband's property, and after the wife's death, the husband may also inherit their properties. Prohibited relationship for the purpose of marriage is created between the husband and a wife, each of them prohibited to marry relations of other within the prohibited degrees. The wife's right to claim, next slide. The wife's right to claim fully established just after the completion of the marriage. The marriage gives the wife also the right of maintenance from her husband with the indemnity effect. After the dissolution of marriage, the widow or divorced woman is under the obligation of iddat, that I will discuss in my later sessions, during which she cannot remarry. Next slide. Next we go for registration under Muslim law. How the registration has to be made under Muslim law. So according to this, Nikah consists registration of marriage. Muslim is compulsory and mandatory, and Muslim law is treated as civil contract according to section 3 of Muslim Marriage Registration Act 1981. Every marriage contract between Muslims after the commencement of this act shall be registered as hereinafter provided within 30 days from the conclusion of the nikah ceremony. Once the nikah is done, within 30 days they has to get registered. So nikah is a type of legal document in Muslim marriages which contains the essential conditions and details of the marriage. Next slide. So according to this act, nikah consists of place of marriage with the sufficient particulars to locate the place where the marriage has done. Then full name of the bridegroom, age, address, the full name of bridegroom's father, whether father is alive or dead, that has to be taken into consideration there also. Then whether civil conditions of the bridegroom at the time of marriage. Next slide. Civil conditions of the bridegroom at the time of marriage. Unmarried widow or divorced marriage, or if so, how many wives are alive, that has to be taken into consideration. Then signature or thumb impression of the bridegroom has to be taken into consideration. Then the full name of nikah, that the person conducted the nikah ceremony is called as nikah khan. Then signature of Nikah Khan, the person conducted the Nikah ceremony with detail, amount of the fixed manage of the dower, each and everything has to be taken into consideration in the Muslim marriage. So one thing we can see here, under Muslim law, we cannot find that how we have a monogamy system in Hindu law. They can have at a time 4 wives according to their consideration, what they have to take. But it has to need to be fulfilled according to their, in their registration, they has to civil condition of bridegroom at the time of marriage, how many wives are alive, that has to be written, and everything has to be submitted when the Nikah is going off. Next slide. Next we go for concept of marriage in Christianity. So under Hindu Christian Marriage Act 1872, Christian marriage in India are performed by the ministry of Christ in a church. After the marriage is performed, the minister or the priest enlists the marriage and issues the marriage certificate, thereby endorsing the marriage. A marriage performed earlier by the priest or the minister of the church can likewise be enrolled in the register of the marriage. In order to get a marriage registered, it is incumbent on each party to the marriage to make an application to concerned authority located with this place of residence. So we can see in the 3 different systems of marriage in Hinduism how the marriage happens, how in the Muslims how the marriage happens, in the Christianity how the marriages happens. Next we can go for, in order to constitute a valid marriage under the Christianity Act, it is required both the parties need to be Christians. The religion has to be Christians. Unless one the party's marriage is governed by own personal laws which prohibit such marriage on the grounds or prohibited degree, same as relationship, what they has to render. So according to this, the Act speaks about the bridegroom must not be under the 21 years and the bride must not be under the 18 years respectively, has to be there. Consent must be free and voluntary, not obtained by the misrepresentation of facts or undue influence. Same we can see here also. Neither party should have spouse living at the time of marriage. Marriage must be prepared in the presence of the at least 2 witnesses by the person licensed to grant the certificate to the marriage. So the priest has to be there. With this presence only they has to get married. So the following conditions performing the marriage by the marriage register appointed under this Act: the notice of intended marriage, a written application or a notice is made either by the parties to the marriage residing in the same area to a marriage registered to notify the concerned authorities or their intention to get married. In case both the parties reside in different areas, each party would have to make a separate notice in writing to the marriage register located within their areas of residences. The written application or notice is recorded in the marriage notebook and is clear notable area in the office. Then a pledge before the register has to be made. Before the certificate of notice being issued, either one party to the marriage should make a personal appearance before the marriage register, pledging that there is no obstacle, neutral, nothing, any influence over there, and the place of residence within the local of marriage register has to be made. Where one of the party is minor, the consent one of the persons mentioned below promote importance order to perform the marriage. If such kind of a things is there, means it has to be taken into consideration. Next slide. Father of the minor, if alive, not deceased, then the guardian has to take her into consideration. Consent of mother is required unless no person residing to give such consent resides in India. Then issue of the certified notice after the pledge has been taken. Once the pledge has been taken, before the register, after either one of the parties to the marriage, and the time limit of 4 days has lapsed after the notice of intended marriage has been received, the registrar has the power to issue the certificate of notice. The information contained in the certificate of notice prevents to location of the church or chapel where the marriage rituals are expected to be performed. The certificate won't be issued if such things will happen. Then the first certificate would be issued. Next slide. Persons authorized to perform the marriage under this act. So according to section 5 of the act, under section 5 of this act, the following persons are competent to perform the marriage. The person appointed, he might be a person who is performed as the customs, rituals, regulations governed by the church of which he is the minister or the priest, provided the religions issued under the act solemnize the marriages by any person who is appointed by the presence of marriage register under this act, or any persons licensed under the act to grant certificate of the marriage between the Indian Christianities. So if the marriage is performed by a person who is not authorized according to section 5 of the Indian Christianity Marriage Act, such marriage would not be termed as valid marriage. It would be termed as void marriage. So the Christian marriages is performed between the parties to the marriage according to the rituals considered essentials and proper as per the priest performing the marriage. The marriage rituals requires mandatory presence of 2 witnesses apart from ministry. Next slide. So any person issued under this act grant Indian, if a marriage is performed by the person who is not authorized under this act or perform, such a marriage would be termed as void marriages. Next slide. Then the documents required. So what all documents are required for registration of marriage under this act? The complete application form has to be given, where what things will happen, what the application, where this thing is done. Then passport size photographs has to be given. Then the certificate or marriage certificate issued by the priest or the minister who performs the wedding has to be submitted. Then 2 photographs of wedding rituals along with the wedding invitation has to be provided for registration. Then residence and the age proof of the either parties of the marriage has to be provided. Then any affidavit certifying the mental and any affidavit certifying the mental and material status of the both parties has to be provided. Any early divorce was unknown to the husband or a wife has to be provided. All these documents has to be provided. Then the registration of marriage will be done under the Indian Christianity Marriage Act. With this three brief ideology concept of marriage, how the marriages happen, how the registration happens with the three religions, Hindus, Muslims and Christianity, according to their acts, according to their provision of the Marriage Act. Next we'll go for concept of divorce. So when it comes for the concept of divorce, especially in Hindu law, there are three main things which stands, theories which gives the breakdown of marriages. One is divorce fault theory, mutual consent theory, breakdown of marriage theories. So the meaning of divorce is a process by which the marriage dissolved or comes to an end. After dissolution of the marriage, which is called as divorce, the parties, their unmarried status and are free again for remarriage or something. Next slide. So before going to the grounds of marriage, we need to understand the theories of this thing, where some of the grounds available under Hindu Marriage Act can be set to a theory of frustration reason for specified circumstances. So according to Hindu Marriage Act, section 13 clause 1 and section 13 clause 2, which provides the provision for the divorce, where section 13 runs as follows: any marriage solemnized, whether before or after the commencement of the act, on a petition prescribed by either the husband or wife, be dissolved by the decree of divorce on the ground of the other parties. One, it might be of various grounds are there according to section 13 clause 1 of the Indian Marriage Act 1955, where it speaks that in modern Hindu law, all three degrees or theories of divorce are recognized and divorce can be obtained on basis of one of them. In Hindu Marriage Act 1955, accordingly based on divorce on fault theory, ensuring the 9 grounds under which the judicial separation can be given or divorce can be given. First is, next slide. In 1964, by an amendment, certain clauses of section 13(1) were amended in the form of section 1A. Thus, recognition of 2 grounds of breaking down of the marriages can be done. In 1976, again the Amendment Act instructed 2 additional false grounds of marriage for a woman and for a wife, and a new section 13 clause B for divorce by mutual consent was added here. Next slide. So when it comes for various ground on which the divorce can be obtained as are follows. One is of adultery, cruelty, discretion, conversion of another religion, insanity, leprosy, oral diseases, unheard for 7 years after the judicial separation, and all these are the grounds which is there. And some grounds only for women is there is, one is bigamy, sexual offenses, degree of order avoiding maintenance and reputation of the marriage. So when it comes for adultery, so while adultery may not be recognized as the criminal offense in the many countries, the maternal offenses of adultery of a fault ground of adultery is recognized in the most. Even under the Hindu law, where divorce had not been recognized, not clear offenses of adultery can be given. But adultery, there must be voluntary or conspicuous sexual intercourse between a married person and another, either a married or unmarried, of opposite sex has to be there. Not other spouse during the substance of marriage. The intercourse with the formal of lateral wife or polygamy system of marriage is not adultery. But if the second marriage is void, then the sexual intercourse with the second wife will amount to adultery. So it is very difficult to prove in the present scenario whether to under what circumstances they can prove offenses can be proved. One of the case law is there in this, where the wife found her husband and the adulteress to the living in the same bed at night, and further evidence of the neighbors that the husband was living with the adulteress as husband and wife is sufficient evidence of adultery. The fact of the matter is direct proof of the adultery is very rare. So the offense of adultery may be proved in the two circumstances only. One by circumstantial evidence, and second one is by contracting vernal diseases. So next ground, cruelty. The concept of cruelty is a changing concept. In the modern concept, the cruelty includes both mental and physical cruelty, where before 1976 amendment, cruelty was the ground for judicial separation only. Now it is a ground for both judicial separation and also for divorce. So cruelty means such conduct as caused physical violation of causing badly hurt or danger to the person of the petitioner. One of the definition which can be told that conduct of such character has caused danger to life, health, bodily, causing bodily hurt, danger, rise of reasonable appearance in the such dangers. When the mental cruelty consists of both cruelty lacking, that some instance we can give it for the cruelty is false elision of adultery or unsanity, some mental cruelty, demand of dowry, then refuse to have maternal intercourse, impotence, then birth of child, telling that birth is not because of mine. Drunkenness also amounts to cruelty. Threat to commit suicide, it also amounts to cruelty. Mental cruelties. Some wives writing a false complaints to an employer of the husband, it also amounts for cruelty. Then even the threatening, stating that I'll commit suicide or such kind also amounts to cruelty. Next, drunkenness is done. Next slide. The which are next before that. The following does not amounts to cruelty. Which all the following does not amounts to cruelty is ordinary wear or tear of married life. Simply tearing that the husband or in the both the sex, husband or wife are telling that they are he's beating something, some kind of a dramatic words, and wife's refusal to resign her job, then tampering without racism, such kind of things will not be amounts for cruelty. Next slide. Rejection means the rejection by the one party in all the obligation of marriage, the permanent or abandonment of the one of this verb, either without any reasonable cause, without the consent of other. It means to total repetition of maternal obligation. The five conditions that must be considered, discussion must consider of grounds for divorce are: in one of the discussion, without reasonable cause, consent of other parties. Next, we can take it as consent or visit of deceased spouse. All this can amounts to discretion. So in Bipin Chandra versus Padmavati, the Supreme Court held that there were the respondent leaves the maternal home without the intention of the deceased, he will not be guilty of discretion if this shows an inclination to return or is prevented from doing so by the petitioner. Next slide. Insanity. So insanity is as the ground of divorce has following two requirements has to be there. The respondent has to be incurable of unsoundness. The respondent has to be suffering continuous or mental disaster or mental disorder of such kind to such an extent that the petitioner cannot reasonably be accepted to live with the respondent. So somewhere the health condition of the husband or the unsoundness, where insanity or unsoundness of the mind of mental disorder of the ground for both judicial separation and the divorce. So when it comes for mental unsoundness implies some unusual feature of the mind as has tended to make it different from the normal, has the fact immoral. Men capacity to look after his affairs in manner which another person without such mental irrigation would able to do it in matter to whom. So before 1976 amendment, the respondent must have to be incurred of unsound mind of period of 2 years for a judicial separation. If any person is having the insanity or unsound minds, means they has to wait for 2 years for a separation and 3 years for a divorce preceding in the decision. But in the 1976 amendment changed the position. Now the respondent be incurred of unsound mind or such suffering from the mental disaster that petitioner cannot reasonably be accepted to live with the respondent. So one of the case law is there in this Ram Narayan versus Rameshwar. The Supreme Court said that mental disorder, the petitioner should prove not merely that said mental disorder, but should be established that at the account of petitioner could not reasonably be accepted in the live with the respondent. When the respondent feel that the petitioner is having some kind of insanity, that the on the ground of unsoundness is there, the mental disorder is there with that respondent, means under such circumstances the petitioner can directly go to the court of law under section 13, one of the grounds for divorce and according to Hindu Marriage Act. Next slide. Vernal diseases. So at present the ground for the divorce is communicable by the nature irrespective of the period which the respondent has suffered from it. The ground is made out of the soul that the diseases in the communicable form. It is not necessary that it should be communicated to the petitioner even if done inconsently. So such kind of things also, vulnerable diseases such as HIV or some sexual diseases or which spreading diseases without the consent of the respondent. If that kind of disease is spreaded by the respondent, means the petitioner can go for the divorce. Okay. Next, rape. Even the presumption of death also amounts for grounds for divorce also, and even the rape or history or solimony, where the divorce petition can be presented if the husband or a wife being guilty of the rape of, or any other such offences which they commit. And the grounds available, some grounds available to wife only, which is not there in my slide, but I'll tell for you in the this thing, and in my class in notes of materials I might add it to. Some is bigamy. So bigamy means section 13 clause 2 of 1 of Hindu Marriage Act 1955 provides that in case of the marriage of the woman solemnized before the commencement of the act before 18 May 1955, the wife can apply for the divorce on the ground that the husband has married again before such commencement of the act. Monogamy means a man or a woman must not have more than one spouse living. So if the husband whose live with wife is alive gets married again, it amounts to bigamy and is guilty of an offence under section 494 of the act. So second wife cannot file a petition under section 13, hence her married itself cannot be considered as the valid marriage. Next we go for divorce in Muslim marriages. So in a literally meaning, it means setting off, letting off or tracking off. In Muslim law, it means freedom from the bondage of marriage, do not form any other bondage. So in legal sense, it means dissolution of the marriage. Husband may divorce his wife by replicating the marriage without given any reason. Pronouncement of such word called as talaq. Till 1939, it was almost impossible for Muslim woman or a Muslim wife to divorce her husband. But now under this, next slide. But now under this act, which was passed under Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1939, there are several grounds that lend down the based on which a Muslim divorce is possible by the woman itself. So modes for divorce under the Muslim law, a divorce may be either by the act of the husband or by the act of the woman or a wife. There are two. One is extrajudicial divorce and judicial divorce. By who all can give a divorce is by husband, by wife, and by the mutual agreement. The word talaq is one of the expression which falls with the categories as approved or unapproved forms. Next slide. So divorce can be followed with talaq in sunnat, where we can see Hasan talaq or Hasan talaq. Talaq by the husband in dual life, dissolution of marriage according to this section. Next slide. Next, classification of dissolution of marriage. About table we have discussed about the from which all things the three conditions where husband talaq can be given, by wife talafi can given, and mutual agreement kula can be given, or the word. So the express talaq falls into two categories we have discussed earlier. One is approved form and unapproved form. So by husband, so there are 4 modes of available before the husband for dissolution of tie of the marriage in Muslim. Talaqunit Sunnat, where it can be have Hassan and so it is the form of talaq is effective in accordance with the traditions established under the Prophet. It further divides into 2 parts. Hassan, it is known for the best form of talaq as the name clarifies the same. The procedure followed by the husband as follows. So he has to make a pronouncement of divorce in a single sentence. He has to make a pronouncement of divorce in a single sentence. Such pronouncement must be made in the purity state. Purity state means when a woman is free from her menstrual circle. So husband must not include or indulge in any form of sexual intercourse during the iddat period, the period of chastity of Muslim women bound to observe after the dissolution of marriage, either by the death of her husband or by divorce. If he does so, any sexual intercourse does in that means, then it will be considered as implied revocation of talaq. It is implicated that note that once the iddat period has expired, the divorce becomes irreclaimable. When the partners does not consumed or communicated any sexual need in that menstrual period, talaq-i hisan can be pronounced even the wife is in her menstruation. Hassan, Hassan, where Arabic meaning of Hassan is good, therefore divorce pronouncement through Hassan mode is good but lesser worth than the one's pronouncement of Hassan, where husband has to make 3 successful pronouncement for a divorce. In case of this, the menstrual wife, such 3 pronouncements such will be made in 3 consecutive state of purity. In the case of non-menstrual menstruating wife, pronouncement should be made at the 3 consecutive intervals of 30 days. So 3 months it has to be there. No sexual intercourse should take place during these periods of 3 pronouncements. If such act takes place, then the process of divorce will be revoked. Talaq Hassan becomes irrevocable on the 3rd pronouncement in respect of iddat period also. Next, talaq id bidat. This form of talaq, triple talaq also is known as. After the judgment which was recorded in judgment Sahara Banu versus Union of India, the Supreme Court held that in the year 2012, the practice of triple talaq is unconstitutional at the form of the talaq, violative of fundamental right provided under the Article 14 of the Constitution of India. So this form of talaq has been removed. Next we go for talaq by woman or by wife. So divorce given by the wife under the husband's delegatory power, where this is one of the way which woman can give a divorce to his husband. However, such power to give divorce needs to be delegated by the husband only in the form of an agreement made either before or after the marriage, providing that the woman will be privileged to get separated from her husband via divorce under the specified condition. In case the husband marries without this thing for second wife, the woman can go for divorce. The husband is unable to maintain her for a specific period of time, condition that must be provided. If the condition agreed by the agreement by the husband, well practice of maternal ties can be taken into consideration. Although the divorce by the mutual consent, although the practice of given divorce by mutual consent was not recognized in the Muslim law, it is only available to Muslim women after the enactment of Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1933. 9. So essentials of mutual consent or the contract of marriages for dissolution is there must be an offer from the woman's side. Offer must be acceptable by the husband with the condition and observance of iddat period is necessary. So with these three conditions, they can go for mutual consent of divorce. So according to section 2 of the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1939, where it speaks 9 grounds, same as the grounds which we have seen in the Hindu Marriage Act also. First ground which speaks about states 9 grounds on the grounds Muslim can obtain a degree of divorce, absence of husband, where about the husband are not known from the past 4 years. Dissolution of marriage degree on this ground will take effect after 6 months from the date of such degree is passed, and during the period if the husband appears and in person through an authorized agent, the court is satisfied the same matter set aside degree. Then failure to maintenance, if the husband fails to provide maintenance to his wife for 2 years, there is no defense available before the husband on the ground of poverty, failing health or unemployment. Next slide. Imprisonment of the husband. If the husband is imprisoned for 7 years or more, this is one of the grounds which under section 2 it is given Dissolution of Marriage Act. Next, failure to perform maternal duties. If without any reasonable cause the husband is unable to perform his maternal obligation for 3 years, then the marriage can go for the divorce. Importance of the husband. Husband was important at the time of marriage and condition to be set. If the husband within 1 year from the date of the order obtained by the woman for dissolution of marriage on a ground of impotency on an application satisfied the court that he ceased impotent, if the husband satisfies the court, then the court or a degree shall be passed on this ground. Next, vernal diseases or insanity, leprosy. If the husband is insane or suffering from the leprosy or any vernal diseases from the period of 2 years, judicial divorce by the woman can be claimed on the same ground. The reputation of application of marriages by wife. If the girl is married before the age of 15 years by her father or guardian, then under Muslim law she has been provided with the right of implicate such marriage after attaining the age of 18 years, provided that the marriage is not valid, she is entitled to degree of divorce for the same. Then grounds of dissolution recognized by the Mohammedan law. Wife is also entitled to obtain divorce on the grounds recognized under the valid laws. Cruelty by the husband. If the husband treats his wife with the cruelty, then she can approach the court and claim for degree of judicial separation on the same ground, where some of the ways through which grounds of cruelty can be seen: physical assault, mental assault, making defamatory statements affecting her reputation, forces her to lead an immoral life, obstructing her from practicing her religion, husband having more than sexual relationship with equally with him, or having a sexual intercourse with threesomes or such kind of things. So those all amounts for a physical assault or cruelty by the husband. Next slide. So that which were discussed in my previous thing only. Yeah, next slide. You can move on next slide. Okay. So with all this, ideology of Hindu and Muslim will move for Christian marriage, divorce under Christian marriage. So where the marriage was solemnized as per the Christianity rites, which was registered under the Christian Marriage Act applicable in India, can be dissolved under the provision of the Special Marriage Act. It pointed out that section 27 of Special Marriage Act lays down the provision for divorce, and section 28 of the Act lays provision for the divorce for mutual consent. So one of the case in the Sri Prakash versus Josh, where the parties were Christians, the marriage was solemnized as per the Christian rites, and it was registered under the provision of the Indian Christian Marriage Act 1872. A joint petition was filed them under section 28 of Special Marriage Act 1957. The matters were referred to the mediation center. The parties settled their disputes before the mediation center. The mediation center also accepted the terms of settlement, memorandum, each and everything. So with this, directly I'll move on to the Special Marriage Act. Next slide. Okay, fine. So what is this Special Marriage Act? So the Special Marriage Act deals with the inter-caste and inter-religion marriages. Inter-caste marriage is a marriage between people of two different castes. The days had gone by when the people used to marry whenever the parent decided to blindly. So the youth now have their own saying that choice, and they prefer their marriage or marry someone who is of competent, or marrying someone who belongs to their caste or religion. So it is them who have to live for whole of their life with their partner, and thereafter caste, religion is not matter for consideration now at all. Love is a beautiful emotion. Sometimes something like caste, religion should not weigh up to. All religions are equal. Marriage should not be a big deal among them. So we confirmed a caste or a religion by birth, not to be choice, as they are people of a lower caste even since the same discrimination. India is a diverse country. It's a plenty of things that is happening here. So the Special Marriage Act is therefore a special law enacted to provide unique form of marriage by registration, wherein the parties to the marriage do not have announced their religion. So this is what the Special Marriage Act deals on. We'll move on to next slide. Applicability. So this act applicable to whom all? So the information of the most important every Indian to know about, they can use it. This act includes Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhist marriages. This act applies to all Indian states. Now here we have written except Jammu and Kashmir. Now it can applicable to that place also. This act applies not only to Indian citizens who belongs to different caste and religion, but also in Indian nationals who lives in abroad also. Next slide. Condition for marriages under special marriage. So this special form of marriage, the condition that must be followed are not very difficult from the requirement of other normal marriages that happens within the caste. There are conditions to qualify for marriage under this act. The bridegroom must be at least 21 years of the age at the time of marriage. The bride must be at least 18 years of the marriage age. The minimum age limited distinction at the boy and marriage according to the age. At the time of their marriage, both the parties must unmarried. They should not married or should not have any living spouse. In order to able to decide themselves, the parties should mentally fit, and there must be a sin at the time of marriage. They should not be related to themselves through blood relationships.
They should not be subjected to prohibited relationship, otherwise act grounds for dissolution their marriages. So these are the conditions where has to be fulfilled under Special Marriage Act. Next we go slide. So registration in marriage under Special Marriage Act in India. In India, all marriages can be registered either with their respective personal laws under Hindu Marriage Act 1955, Muslim Marriage Act 1954, and under the or in under Special Marriage Act 1954. So a marriage under Special Marriage Act 1954, peoples from the different distinct religions backwards to unite the marriage bond. Unlike their personal laws, Special Marriage Act applicability extend to all Indian citizens regardlessly of their religion, although marriage laws allow only the registration of Act provided forth solemnities of legal registration. The Special Marriage Act has designed a simple means of legally registering a marriage between two persons of different religion, but even if both the consent parties belong to the same religion, they may choose to register the marriage under this act. Next slide. Next we go for grounds for judicial separation under Special Marriage Act. So judicial separation, which we have seen in the Muslim law and also the Hindu law, this judicial separation grounds under Special Marriage Act also has the replicable somewhere. First, he has to committed any adultery. A district court shall lodge a petition for a judicial separation from either the husband or the wife on any of the ground that the respondent has committed adultery, had distinct this post for the period of 2 years immediately prior to petitioner submission without the cause. His imprisonment for an offence as described in the Indian Penal Code for 7 years or more, as the petitioner of unsound mind or has incurable cruelty, treating the cruelty, suffering from the vernal diseases, leprosy, or has not been heard for at least, next slide, has not been heard for at least 7 years, has been alive, where the petitioner is a wife. The additional ground she can file on petitioner for judicial separation is nullity of marriage, where law of nullity of marriage refers to pre-marriage, the subject matter of that, absolute implication, and void marriage also not applicable here, where a marriage solemnized under this act, conditions of A, B, C, D, section 4, the respondent was impotent in the time under such circumstances, or which he has been married, bigamy system is practiced under such circumstances, then so those all things comes under the, even the male should have at least 21 years or 18 years of the girl, if that age parties not be there, or the parties within the degrees of prohibited degree, under such circumstances the void marriage will happen, and it will be amount to a one ground of marriage divorce. Next slide. Voidable marriage. So long as not avoided, avoidable marriage is principally valid. Only one of the parties to the marriage may request to go avoiding. If the one of the parties refuses to demand the marriage will remain valid. If one of the parties dies before the challenge of marriage, remains the valid forever. All the legal applications will be there. So these are the things which is same as section 25 of Special Marriage. Next we'll go for the important provisions. Next slide. Next slide. Differences between. So this is very important to understand what difference we can see in between the Hindu Marriage Act or Muslim Marriage Act to this Special Marriage Act. So in Hindu Marriage Act only applies to Hindus, where Special Marriage Act extends to all Indian citizens. So in Hindu Marriage Act, enacted in 1950 by Parliament of India, Hindu Marriage Act allows for solemnized marriage registered under the Hindus itself, even that in the Muslim Marriage Act. But the next slide. The Special Marriage Act 1954 is an act of Parliament, and also there is an provisions that which speaks about Parliament enacted provided the citizen of India and all Indian nationals, even in the foreign countries, with the Special Marriage Act, they applicable under this Special Marriage Act. The parties intend to marriage must notify that at least 30 days prior to date of notice has to be given. So these things. Next slide. Next slide. Fine. So with this understanding of concept of marriage and concept of divorce, it's a vast subject or vast topic which we need to understand. So coming to the conclusion of my 1 hour 40 minutes of presentation in this concept of marriage and divorce in other religions, which started with Hindus, Muslims and Christians, and also with the various losses which is there under the provisions of Hindu Marriage Act, Muslim Marriage Act, Christian Marriage Act, dissolution of marriage of 3, and also with the Special Marriage Acts. So earlier part of both Hindu and Muslim laws, although there are various difference between two laws like essential process of solemnizing marriage, basic needs, like Hindu law is concerned to a sacrament, but Muslim law is in a contractual nature. Even in the Hindu law, we can see a contractual nature, but it is somewhere it is having the sacrament relationship when it comes for Muslim law. Although as far as divorce is concerned, in case of Hindu, it becomes very as a new concept, because among Hindus it is believed that marriage once solemnized has to be continued till the generation of life. Some new grounds in Hindu Marriage Act to replicated and also conditions essential for valid divorce and marriage cannot into be forced. Yes, whatever it might be that, but the according to the Article 14, Article 19 and Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, which gives the golden triangle of Indian Constitution, that which has to be there. Any violation amounts to any of this individual person, it has to be considered as unconstitutional. So with all this mindset, the provisions of Hindu laws, Muslim laws, and the grounds for marriage, marriage and grounds for divorce has been made. So in understanding marriages settlement with respect to Special Marriage Act, in India, marriage is considered as a divine and also the holy union. So in the basic piece of every life of India, it's large nation. Therefore, people from different religion and culture lives here. So we know that the degree of the influence that rank and the religious have in our country is still being binding. The framework after an unbending structure, individuals are required to marry within their positions. Anyone who marries out of their station and challenges, they can be taken into consideration. So with all this understanding, with all this notification of making you clear